Hi, wanted to make this video. It'll probably be the first one in a couple of videos. um, there's different kinds of preppers, and people accuse you, if you're a Christian and you're a prepper, that you're not trusting in the Lord, and because he says he'll, protect us and watch over us, and that is true. He's always there. Um, but throughout the Bible, we have many examples of how we're supposed to use wisdom um, and prepare for the unforeseen, um, especially if we know that there's possible danger or circumstances coming, as we know in the end times there are. And we don't know quite how long we'll be here until the rapture occurs. So, what we need to do is be prudent, as throughout Proverbs it tells us to be, rather than being simple or foolish and not preparing for unforeseen circumstances. Okay, so as I've mentioned in my other videos, people throughout the United States live in different zones, and if you live in an if you live in the south or the southeast, you may already know to prepare for a possible hurricane or flooding. Okay, and if you live in the Midwest, you may live in a tornado area, and in California, we live in an earthquake zone. So it's just common, it's just common sense and using wisdom to prepare for those um, natural disasters that could occur in the place that you live, as well as knowing if the Lord has revealed anything to you, and we read Revelation, knowing that we're living in the last days, just knowing that we should be prepared for, and then also the possibility of an EMP or our power grid going out. Just knowing that we should prepare for the unforeseen is what a prepper is. And it's not that they're planning on, it doesn't mean that we're planning for the apocalypse. It just means that there is a possibility of an emergency, natural disaster, or an emergency occurring where we will need to take care of our families for a time without the assistance of the grocery store being on the very next corner, or gasoline being able to be pumped with the electronic pumps, or running to the bank and knowing that it's going to come out of the ATM when that all works on electricity. So just being able to have some supplies and necessities for you and your family in case of any possible disruption in power or life as you know it. So one definition of a prepper is an individual or group that prepares or makes preparation in advance of or prior to any change in normal circumstances or lifestyle without significant reliance on other persons, being self-reliant, or without substantial assistance from outside resources, government, etc., in order to minimize the effects of that change on their current lifestyle. So just being ready with food, water, things that your family needs, necessities, pets, children, medicinal needs, just have, and conveniences, and hygiene supplies. Just having these things on hand in case there is a disruption in your normal lifestyle. Okay. I had another definition here, but I think you get the gist. Perhaps it's on the other side. I don't know. Here is what Wikipedia says. A prepper is an individual or group that prepares or makes preparations in advance of or prior to any change in normal circumstances. So as we see from this definition, this person writes, there are no allegations of paranoia or condemnation for antisocial behavior. Nonetheless, from my chair, this definition lacks critical details relating to the motives or reasons for prepping as well as resulting mechanisms and tactics. This was written by, I'll get to his name in a bit. Anyways, so his definition of a prepper is anyone who has observed recent history and the reoccurring disasters, both natural and man-caused, that have resulted in massive casualties and or loss of life, and in consideration of lessons learned or stemming from such events, coupled with the odds of the reoccurrence of any such events, takes appropriate and measured steps to deal with and or survive any such events which may occur in their environment in the future. I'll add that. So it's just using wisdom to prepare. And in the Bible, there's many examples. It is biblical to prepare in advance for any unforeseen or for any seen possibilities that could occur. Even from Genesis, I've mentioned before Joseph, Pharaoh having his dream about the cows and the stalks and the 7 skinny and the 7 fat, and the 7 skinny came and he ate the 7 fat. And the interpretation that God gave Joseph for this was that there was going to be 7 good years of harvest and then 7 famine years. And we are in a famine in California. I don't know exactly all the states because I live in California. So there is a famine going on. And we're a big producer of produce, food for much of the country, as well as the Midwest is a supplier of many grains. So if we're having a famine, basically water and food is going to be scarce, and the prices of such can be expected to go up. So even if you want to stock up some food that your family uses before the prices go up, that's always a wise thing too. But this dream, Joseph gave the interpretation that the Lord gave him was, you need to prepare during those 7 good years, save 1/5 of your food. Let's stock up 1/5 of the food, 20%, and then we'll have enough food to sustain everyone when the 7 famine years come. And that, just using the wisdom that the Lord gave him, he was the right-hand man to Pharaoh and was put in charge. So it's not only wise, but it's a blessing to be able to use the wisdom that the Lord gives you. Okay, and then we know that the Lord told Noah to build an ark and how to prepare it, and and to stock up, put on the ark 7 male and female of every clean animal, and just 2 of every unclean animal. And I'm sure they put drinking water. I'm sure they didn't get into the ark with just the ocean around them and salt water around them and being locked up on that ark for all those days and months without any water or food. I'm sure they didn't go into the ark trusting that God was going to rain down manna into their rooms and fill up their water jugs every day. So they made preparations to sustain themselves and the animals while they were on that ark. Okay. And then we have many, many verses that talk about being prudent and wise. Proverbs 12:11, he who tills the land will be satisfied with bread, they shall eat, but he who follows frivolity is devoid of understanding, and frivolity is lack of seriousness. So when they just goof off and they don't take anything seriously, and they don't work or to provide for their means, or they just get they don't take it serious and they just go through it, they're going to suffer for it. Also, Proverbs 14:23, labor leads to profit. So if we work we're going to profit from that work. Proverbs 21:5, plans of the diligent surely, lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. So if we're diligent, we will have plenty, but if we're hasty, we make hasty decisions or we're hasty in our actions, that will lead to poverty. 1 Timothy 5:8, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So the Lord's telling us that we need to provide for our own, especially of our household. That's our responsibility. Proverbs 30:25. We can look, and the Lord says there's 4 things that are wise in verse 24. And one of those things in verse 25 is the ant. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare food in the summer. So we should be diligent when we have plenty, just like Pharaoh during the 7 good years and the ant in the summertime. Prepare and store up during our times of plenty when we're capable of buying an extra bag of rice or an extra gallon or case of water, or an extra pack of Band-Aids or toilet paper or whatever it is that you foresee that you may need if the power were to go out for days or a week or 2 weeks. It's just it's just using wisdom and being wise. It's just wise to prepare and have that extra stored up so that you won't be needing when something does happen. Proverbs 14:15, the simple believes every word, but the prudent considers well his steps. So this is a good one also for just following anybody and listening to what anyone says. Don't take my word or anyone else's word for it without doing some research and praying and asking the Lord to show you. But and especially, don't believe everything you hear on the news or in the media or from politicians, but test all things. We're told to test all things with the word of God and then follow what is right. So don't believe every word, and also the prudent considers well his steps. So we're not supposed to be rash or hasty in our decision making, and we're also supposed to be planned, make plans. And then I love Proverbs 22:3 and 27:12. It's the same verse, but in different verses. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself. The simple pass and are punished. So I choose to be a prudent person. I choose to be wise and foresee evil or danger that could happen and hide myself. I will be fording in my house or out in my getaway area if the need arises, rather than just being simple and getting punished for it. I am definitely not going to be here and let FEMA militia, if that ever came down to it, take me to a camp. I trust that the Lord would protect me wherever he would lead me to go, and that I would be a witness for him to those that I would run into. I'm just not willing to give up myself to anybody until it's the Lord's time, until he shows me, and until he's done with me. So with that being said, I just wanted to share how preppers are not crazy. Prepping is always a good thing. You have, like I've said many times before, you have automobile insurance. We have to in most states, but you have it in case there's an accident. You have roadside assistance in case someday you get a flat tire or your car doesn't start. so that you're not stranded. So you pay for that even though you may never use it. It's just in case that unforeseen circumstance comes and you find yourself in need or needing something. Um, and we have homeowners insurance, we have life insurance in case our spouse um, dies before us and we are found in need. Um, these things are just they're just being wise and being good stewards of what God has given us. So if it's at all possible, I've had people tell me, oh well, if I had to prepare for an earthquake, you know I'd have to stop living life as I know it. Well, no, you don't have to stop living life as you know it just to prepare yourself for an unforeseen natural disaster. I'm not saying go spend your next whole check on emergency supplies. What we need to do is take these verses that we've read and examples that we can see in the Bible of them preparing for war or preparing for a battle or preparing to go to from one place to another to travel, or the ark, or for the years of famine coming. What we just need to take the steps that we can to prepare for life without power, food, um, any kind of natural disaster, where maybe if we even had to leave our house, because it was falling down from an earthquake, or it was flooded, or the tornado wrecked it. So if we can just once a week when you go to the store, purchase something that you and your family would eat or need in an event like this, that one step of purchasing one thing a week would eventually give you some supplies, and then you won't be without everything in an event. Thank you. Post your questions.